attacked
I
as our
laugh at that.
specialty.
I kind of laugh at that just a little bit. Not as a slight, but as a...
Okay, I get it.
And
That's a relatable joke.
as
What
some,
humor?
Yes. As I experience with some crab myself.
Awesome.
And tact is a specialty of the crane, and the dislike of the crab is something the lion and us do share.
Indeed. Thank you for your assistance.
Do you still request of me, Lord Dakota, to
I think we
communicate?
know. I think we know what happened here, and I fear for what you would find out. We should really have a team of Shugenja purify this place. Perhaps you could send for some of your family.
I will do so.
Again, it is greatly appreciated. Though this land is disputed, we cannot have it tainted with the pall of the dead. And I think at that, the conversation would be relatively over. You would still be able to get healing from any wounds you have. So your fatigue would be fully restored. I think your strife would be fully restored before you were sent on your way back to Toshi Rainbow.
I would also suggest maybe having some Ashihina Shugenja over here too would be a great statement for Lion Shugenja and Crane Shugenja to work together to purify this and make it good. A good PR move.
Yeah, great PR move. Yeah, I think you're right.
What is that?
Yeah. So you guys are sent back to Toshi Rainbow, and Lady Utaku, is there any other? I think the magistrate kind of finishes his rounds and then goes to whatever quarters he has, and he kind of doesn't come out for several hours.
Well, when I somewhat have an idea of what he's doing, I was going to double check the first.
Okay.
The first, or one of the places I had already gone, like the Fortune of Sorrow.
Yeah, you're going to kind of go along the line again
to see if I step back in, if I still see the person in black. If I step in, turn or if they're just gone.
Roll me a theology check.
Okay.
With Void.
Oh wait, what am I even picking up? 2 successes.
Okay. You do see them. They're still standing and still staring. And as you go from shrine to shrine, every shrine in the town now has them.
And they still disappear as I exit. Okay, that's what I wanted to double check before I relayed any information I came across.
Yeah.
And I guess I was going to ask, I want to see if I can recall any kind of information or knowledge of what could be causing someone to act against their will or out of character like this.
I think you would some types of magic, but fairly rare forms of it. I don't think there's any risk to you knowing that or not knowing it.
Okay.
I think, if anything, you would recognize things like this from stories that the other unicorn tell that have been passed down by now for generations about their time out in the Gaijin territories.
Okay.
So it's not really recognizable invocations of Rokugani Shugenja. It's more something beyond the wall. Not necessarily Shadowlands, just kind of beyond Rokugan.
Okay. And with that, I will, in a time frame, how close, about when was Miyamoto attacked? I'm trying to see if there was a commotion
attacked,
or something that would have brought me to that area.
It was a fairly quick street brawl.
Okay, so
that
not
was
really
fairly
commotion.
quickly broken up.
But how
Gotcha.
quickly was the fire put out?
The fire itself probably took a few minutes.
Okay.
It was mostly localized to the man's clothes.
Well, and whatever stall I took out,
Yeah.
possibly.
I think the thing that took the stall out was more his force of being pushed into it
Okay.
than it was the fire specifically.
Okay.
Surely, after all of your talk to Ikoma about how you do appreciate Tagashi's insights, you would have more restraint than I'm going to blow up a shack. After all the big talk you had right before that.
Well, it wasn't cabbages. It was full of cabbages. So.
Okay, fair enough.
As Ikoma was probably just laughing.
He was definitely like, wow. So I think...
Then I will actually go try to hunt down Miyamoto before I move on, because...
So I'm going to kind of skip forward a little bit to when they're coming back into the town gates. It's probably a few hours since you had done that initial investigation. By this time, Miyamoto, you and Ikoma have made your way probably to the sake house and have been continuing your conversation just in general. Just getting to know each other a little bit, and later on, if there's information that you want to pull out of that, you can kind of make a retroactive check to see like what knowledge you gained from there. And that's kind of where you find him, and you guys kind of wait there until it's probably an appropriate time for tea.
One of the things I would have probably insisted on was we take these people to the prison.
Oh yeah, you definitely would have done
them
that.
up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't think you guys would have had to necessarily do that, but the guards would have seen what was going on and have come over immediately. Like I said, there is an amplified number of guards in town, and it would be pretty easy for you to explain. Like, no, we didn't just attack 3 peasants for nothing.
Even though I just have this prisoner out that you've locked up.
Yeah, but they don't know that. They don't know why he's out.
Would the guards? Could I recognize the guards as true Crane, or would I detect some of them are not real Crane?
I don't know that there's enough distinction between the two. Like, these are Ashigaru. They're not samurai guards.
Okay.
They're just wearing the armor given to them.
Okay.
So I don't know that there's enough without having like a detailed conversation about their childhood to
Well, I was
gain.
thinking more in terms of their clothing and things.
Yeah, no, the clothing they're wearing is strictly like the uniform of the Crane guards.
Okay.
So I think you guys wait until the two of you walk back through the gates until Isawa and Kikita return from their journey, and you guys are shown to the magistrate's offices to kind of give your report on what went on. And you two, Miyamoto and Utaku, see them as they enter the town through one of the windows, and you see them being led to the magistrate's office. Do you want to join them, or do you want to wait?
I wish to know what they found out. So
Yes. Also, I don't have much knowledge in the ways of the kami,
Okay.
so I actually need to confer with Asawa about what I...
Oh, absolutely. So you guys wander over in that direction, and Kikita and Isawa, you see them approaching, and everything's just kind of been a whirlwind of mass amounts of information that you've all gotten individually on what on earth is going on here, but you don't really have time to share that at this moment. But you have enough time to share a glance of this thing is big, huge. It is not limited to an event, and there's something deeper going on in general. And it's about the time that you're shown into the Kikita magistrate's office.
Okay, then if that's the case, then the only tidbit that I want to get out is that Hida is not acting himself, and that it is not necessarily he's not.
I don't know if you want to say that in front of these guards, because there are guards standing literally right next to you.
The Ashigaru?
Yeah.
I can order him to make space.
I think
Right.
that the Kikita magistrate's orders supersede yours, for sure.
Well, if they're escorting... okay, I guess. All right, never mind then.
So they lead you inside. And is Ikoma with you, or did you ask him to stay behind?
Como, we have to go speak to the magistrate. I appreciate your desire to uncover the truth, but perhaps your desire would interfere in our discussions at this moment. So do you mind sitting here and consuming sake while we...
He grabs the bottle, kicks his feet up, and says, "I know when I'm not wanted." And tilts it back.
I
That-
never
that
said
is
that.
No, but you took my meaning truly. Also, we would have questioned these people, so if there's any information we can get, we don't have to do that now. But like, did all of them have eyes? The void.
Well, the tattoos
eyes.
the
They
tattoos
disappeared,
vanished.
right?
And so like
We
if
wouldn't
you
know,
they
but-
didn't know.
But do they? We would have been questioning that. Like, I would have been asking them. So when did you feel the urge? What do you remember? Things like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
you got a whole lot of nothing. Like it's just kind of like suddenly things went blank for them, and then they were there attacking you, and then they woke up.
Okay. And do I need to do a sentiment check to see if I believe?
No, I think you believe them.
Okay.
I think there's no risk to not believing them
Okay,
because
fair
it's
enough.
true.
Okay. Cool. All right.
All right. So you walk in. You see the Kakita magistrate. You see the Hida magistrate, the Emerald magistrate, and you see the Dragon priestess. Welcome. Were you able to ascertain any new information?
Much.
Well,
And I think how freely, how openly do you guys think you want to tackle this subject? What is your kind of goal in leaving here? And I think that the tension in the room is basically that the three people that you trust the least in Toshi Ranbo, maybe in all of Rokugan,
Well, it
are sitting in the three people you trust least, and the three most powerful people in the area are sitting in the room asking,
at least
"What'd you
three
find
of-
out?"
Lord Dakota was still near there too. He's a pretty powerful
technically,
dude. so,
technically,
yeah.
yes.
But definitely, yeah.
He because of the governance of Toshi Ranbo, like he stands under the Kakita magistrate currently.
Yeah.
In station, not in strength.
Yeah, yeah. But still, a pretty powerful guy.
Very powerful guy.
Yeah. The Kakita magistrate I want to trust because, family.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't. Again, because family.
Sure.
And a little bit of what you just saw out on the battlefield.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
The-
we saw the other. Sorry, I didn't want to. We saw the other. So
Yeah, the Hida demonstrated those charges so far. I'm trusting because I've seen no reason not to.
Yeah.
The Dragon Priestess is unknown to me entirely.
Yeah, she
So-
surprises you. Actually, she surprises everybody except for Miyamoto.
Well, she surprises me that she's sitting.
Well, that's
here.
true.
I
Were you-
saw her.
were you there with
I
them?
saw her initially, and then we parted ways.
Oh, right. You didn't have the conversation, but you did see her
Correct.
there. Okay. I forgot about that.
Did I get her name?
No.
And her phone number?
Can I have it?
You had me. Yeah, you had me at a disadvantage. I did not get your name, Miss. You are of my clan.
I am.
Do you have a name
I
that you wish to share?
No. If you must call me something, stick with the woman. That is fine with me.
But your name is merely your family. What family are you?
What family am I?
That is my question.
That is indeed a good question. Perhaps one that you should explore more in depth. Miyamoto Diphthong.
Yes.
And you know that you did not give her your name.
Yes. Very unusual for a dragon to be so secretive.
Perhaps a dragon at once, but all dragons must supersede that of a clan, shouldn't they? Isn't that the desire overall, Miyamoto?
Not to supersede, yes, to find your own path, to find your...
Is enlightenment not separation from the rest of the world? Bliss and peace with the kami and with the world itself. Utter connection.
Yes, but all things appear and disappear because of the concurrence of causes and conditions. Nothing ever exists entirely alone. Everything is in relation to everything else. So you are never truly superseding or separating yourself. We're all connected.
Until you become disconnected.
Is that where you are at right now?
Well, I'm not connected to you, but I know you well.
That may be true. And knowledge is a certain amount of power. Perhaps that is why you wish to keep yourself secret.
It is no secret that I am simply the woman. I don't share a name because I don't support a name. I am one with the void, and
Are
there's
you?
little that you can do to surmise what that means, because I think that the void eludes you, Miramoto.
There is a certain truth in that. So what brings you here?
Nothing. I
see.
simply am. And I think Kevin knows a little something over there.
Is it courtesy that I just hide my emotion, like any reaction on my face? Like I'm just gonna be.
Yeah.
Okay.
What are you trying to hide?
The obvious like unnerve I have in this room right now that I don't want to bolt out. Not really just bolt out the door, but leave.
Yeah. Okay. So go ahead and roll a courtesy plus earth.
Okay.
You want to remain grounded. You just threw that die into the pile of dice.
While that's taking place, and I
Okay.
need the clarification here because it's been months since we had the very beginning started.
Yeah.
Which magistrate sent us?
The Ruby.
The
Champion?
Ruby Champion.
Ruby
Yes.
Champion. There we go. Because we were in training to be magistrates.
Yes.
3 successes.
3 successes. Okay. You succeed in masking.
Yeah, my character just wants to like draw our weapon just slowly back out the door. Player's crying a little bit.
Well, what did you find?
Honored lords and magistrates, the land is in need of great healing. The kami are at unrest.
And what would you propose we do about this? And how does that have anything to do with what we sent you there for?
We encountered a scene in which many samurai have perished, and they perished to a demon that is of
Interesting.
the taint.
Interesting indeed.
At least as it was described. There is a desire to send emissaries to the crab to acquire some additional forces to help cleanse the land and fight these tainted ones, as well as we need to reach out to my family and bring in Shugenja from the Phoenix to help purify what has already taken place. This is what we have found thus far.
I see. Well, we can certainly send for some of your family. We will send for some Crane Shugenja as well. How did things go with Lord Akoto?
I give a very kind of straightforward account of when we get to the cabin, how parley went, the attack,
Okay.
all the stuff. I'm not going to mention that. I'm going to mention that we met Griot there, but not that he had Crane gold, because I
Okay.
don't want to tip off the magistrate that
Okay.
we suspect him about anything.
And I'll chime in that he did accept the recompense that was offered.
Yeah.
Lord Akoto, right?
Yes.
Did accept the coins that we were sent with.
I see. And this Griot helped to defeat this demon?
That was his story. But he also claimed to killed many lion warriors that day, and it is entirely possible that the Oni was there at his behest.
I see.
So
This is most troubling.
Griot was there,
He was.
Yes.
and what of the Wolf Clan?
I assume they were the ones fighting with him, yes?
They were the ones dressed as Crane. who
The
apparently,
Wolf Clan were dressed as Crane.
who had apparently attacked us at the initial parlay and attacked the Lion camp as well.
This, although they were dressed as Crane, they still carried their original weapons.
Why would they be dressed as Crane?
Surely to pit Akodo against us directly.
Yes,
was
that
our
must be
assessment
it.
as well.
So you think this is Griot's doing?
Well, of course. I assume you set the record straight with Lord Akodo, yes?
We presented our case as best we could.
I see, and we can only hope that he reacts in the best way.
He seemed a man of reason for a lion.
So he is not planning to
Well-
attack the city?
Well, our scouts have already reported back that his troops are headed back to Oiku. It's the best we could hope for now. You've done a great service to the Crane. Thank you for your assistance, you two. And you're actually awarded 6 glory
Nice.
for bringing some semblance of peace between the two. Both of you are.
One also mentioned that Akodo's wish that we be his emissaries to the crab to ensure that it's actual crab warriors that show up and not these Griot associates pretending to be crab.
And your preference would be to work with Akodo?
If it would speed along the healing process for Toshi Rainbow, yes, we definitely would. At least I would. I cannot speak for my associates.
We
but I
work
think
for
would do
balance
this.
and healing of this land, and if that requires the crab
Well,
to join us, and then the Shugenja from all clans to come in to cleanse, then by all means, if that is what you mean by working with Lord Dakota, then yes.
it sounds as though this Griot has gone to Cute and Hida to call upon the troops that you would go to seek.
That is a potential, which is why emissaries must be necessary to speak in court.
So you think you could add to Griot's case, perhaps because you are from appropriate clans? I see some merit in this, but Cute and Hida is not my jurisdiction. I cannot send my Yuriki there, nor can trainees from the Ruby Champion participate in such an in-depth court. I fear that your manner of transfer is limited at this time. Under what authority would you presume to travel there, if not bowing to Akodo as your champion, your daimyo?
Well, if you wish us to investigate this to its fullest, and all our investigations lead to Griot, is it not wise that we follow Griot and ascertain what his intentions are and where he is going? And what better cover would it be than to go as emissaries for the Emerald Magistrate?
I think that you've overestimated the reach of my jurisdiction. Wisdom though it may be, it does not supersede the Celestial Order, Miramoto. And I cannot interfere in the workings and investigations of those in other regions, which I do not oversee.
We would
So to
not-
go in my name would not be appropriate.
That is fair. Then perhaps we can go on behalf of Lord Akita and Lord Akodo, as dragon monks are always respected for their neutrality. A member of the Crane clan, a Shugenja of the Phoenix, who have no allegiance, would perhaps show the balance and that we require at this time in dealing with this taint.
And the wisdom of working together in hopes of peace.
Perhaps, but the only one of the four of you that I could even endorse would be Kakita Isamu here. I don't have the authority to just grasp any clansman that I see, to send them to my bidding.
May we send word to the Ruby Magistrate or the Ruby Champion?
I don't know that she would send
And
you
seek
to
permission.
court.
Could
That would
But
be
you
her
could.
decision.
we not reach out to the Emerald Magistrate over those lands to get temporary leave to
unfortunately, and this is Hida, I don't know if you guys can tell, but my voice changes. This is what's going on.
I am trying to.
I could send word that I would be willing to send some help, but I could not send you unless it was requested. And to spend time at court over not even a legal this is, and I think this is the fundamental problem, that this is no longer a legal matter but a spiritual one. I have no jurisdiction in spiritual matters. You would have to contact a Jade magistrate in order to have any authority in this circumstance, but there is not one here. There's not been one traveling these lands in quite some time. The closest that you would have here is the woman. But to follow her, you would have to, well, become the thing that you all seem to hate.
Which is?
Ronan.
I do not hate Ronan.
You
All
all
of
hate
us.
Griot.
I do not hate Griot. I wish to find out what he is up to.
I do not hate him. I distrust him.
But the reason you distrust him is for his dissociation
No,
with his family.
He seeks power.
the
He
reason
seeks peace, from what anyone has told me other than you. Even Miramoto thinks he seeks
The words
peace.
directly from his mouth.
I did
He seeks
until
power.
Bayushi
Mm.
came and murdered, in my opinion, my belief, murdered the lion.
Well, belief is one
Magistrate.
thing. Reality is another, and unfortunately, reality supersedes belief, don't you think? No, I don't think that I can endure. I think that the best thing for you to do now is to remain my Yuriki here and watch over Toshiranbo. Everything is fine. I've come to know Lord Kakita very well myself, and the woman has been helping us for the last few days, and things have not been better in Toshiranbo. There is more peace here. It looks like the crops are going to begin flourishing once again, and the town has already begun being cleared. Did you see the dojo? Somebody cleaned that whole thing.
You're welcome.
Oh, it was you. See, the Kakita are holding this place together. We should have created this as a crane fortification long ago.
Then, if everything is going so well, perhaps our services are no longer needed here.
Oh, no, you misunderstand. A Yuriki continues to investigate. You watch. That's all you do.
And the
Miramoto.
person we need.
Maybe it would be beneficial if we meditate on what our next action should be.
I have been feeling that same thing myself.
Thank you for your investigation. Stay in Toshiranbo as Hida's Yuriki. Everything that you need or desire will be paid for in full by the Empire and by me if the Empire will not cover that cost. Thank you for.
We
Is this
do-
Hida
You
talking
are.
or Kakita?
It's Kakita. You
Okay.
are dismissed, Miramoto.
Thank you very much. And we do need to be in
You are
contact.
dismissed.
Okay.
You do us much honor. Kakita
And you have done me the honor of this investigation. Now, please, we must confer on the information that you have gathered. Good evening, and welcome to Toshiranbo.
And
May your stay be long.
now, can I do a sentiment check to
Thank you.
see if I
Yes, you can do sentiment checks.
Yes.
This whole thing has gone horribly awry for you guys.
Yes, it has.
Absolutely.
Things are not going well.
I've been like, wait, how much trouble would I get if I like say, "May the fortunes guide us"? I mean,
May fortune be with you. Sentiment checks with whatever ring you would like.
I'm going to do some analyzation here, so that will be air.
Okay.
I think analyze is a good one.
It
I'll
is,
keep
it's a
this
great one.
blank dice because I got two opportunities. Oh no! I'll keep the.
You'll keep what?
I think
There's an
I'll use those
explosive
opportunities.
success. There's
Let's
that.
see.
I'm going to use water.
Water?
I used water also.
Okay.
So
as I look for my water card.
I'm just kind of trying to survey how their interactions are going with each other as well as us. So,
Okay.
Well, I really want to use fire, but and probably I would because I'm getting agitated.
I would like to use my opportunity to spot a physical detail not related to the check, or at deemed discretion, add a previously unnoticed area of terrain or mundane item to my location. I don't know what the last parts do, but
I think I can give you a detail not previously noticed.
I will take that detail.
You see kind of, so both Kakita and Hida have their normal clothes on, but you can see a sort of sash underneath their kimono, and on the corner of that sash you see a black mon that looks sort of similar to an eye. What other checks were made, and what do you guys receive from them?
Okay. I made success. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 success
Okay.
and an opportunity, and yeah, I'm just trying to determine the sincerity. Also, would be looking. I know I'm really studying the Dragon Priestess. I want to see what I remember about her. If anything, I've heard anything. If anything pops into my mind, and as soon as I can, I'm going to meditate and do Lord Togashi's insight too.
Okay. So 5 successes. You're trying to assess the honesty of the situation. So you get the sense that she is influencing the conversation
Who's in control?
heavily.
Yes.
She's influencing the conversation heavily. You rolled fire ring, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
So the one opportunity I think is you see that Kakita's left eye keeps twitching noticeably. Like it's almost a wink. It's so noticeable.
Okay.
Now, as far as what you remember about the woman, it's almost like you do recognize her face when you're looking at it, but like even now as you've left the room, it's like as you try to remember it, the image in your mind is staticky. Like the picture is made of sand that's all the same color with some shadow. So like you can tell it's a figure, but you can't tell what it makes, or you can't even really remember the color of her robes.
Just the eye.
You remember the eye because you've seen it elsewhere, but you don't remember any detail about her. When you see her, it all comes back. But right now, even you're trying to think of like, what do I remember? What details do I remember about her? And you have nothing. It's all static, like watching snow on a TV screen that makes the shape of a person, but it's very indistinct. Isawa, how'd your roll go? What'd you get?
I had a success and an opportunity. So
Water ring?
Water ring. So I have the same.
And what were you trying to ascertain?
What I was going after was is there something because what I was doing was surveying the room.
Right.
What I was trying to go after was there something off with these folks? So it was kind of very similar to what Kevin was doing.
Nothing seems off necessarily. Like they're acting how they're supposed to. The things they're saying are not necessarily like legally untrue or anything like that. It does seem strange, the things that they're saying, but none of them are directly wrong.
It just seems unfinished.
It seems unfinished. It seems rushed. And your opportunity, I think, you notice a piece of parchment on the table that, as you guys had walked in, Lord Kakita had rolled it up kind of quickly as you entered the room. But he didn't like move it or do anything like that. He just kind of rolled it up and proceeded to talk. But you noticed that there was something he was writing on right before you entered.
Okay.
And Kakita, how did your roll go?
I got 3 successes and 3 opportunity.
Okay, wow.
Yes.
On a sentiment roll. So
On
what
sentiment,
were you
yes.
looking for in particular?
I was mostly focused, I guess, on their body language, how they were comporting themselves. You said they all kind of deferred to
Okay.
the woman. She had more authority and power than anybody else in this room, kind of. But
Yeah.
I really wanted to focus more on Hida, because he is the magistrate of this area. He is more or less the one in charge officially.
Yeah, he seemed kind of absent-minded. You know that he is a crab, and as an Emerald Magistrate, he would have been shocked at the Shadowlands news. He should have reacted much more powerfully. He not necessarily like in an unmasking way, but crab are generally less careful about honor and things like that. Like they generally, like when Shadowlands is involved, they kind of lose all caution and are very adamant about wiping it out very, very quickly. And that didn't happen.
They're very practical, and he did not act like a practical
He did
man.
not act practical. He acted more like a crane than a crab. Focusing more on like the legal standpoint than the practical nature of what would need to happen. Your opportunities, what would you like to see from those?
Wow.
What ring did you roll?
I used air.
Air? Okay.
Yeah. So I can learn something about each one of them, because I got 3, 1 for each.
Okay. You have kind of the same experience that Miramoto does. When you leave, you don't remember anything about the woman. You remember that she's called the woman, which is probably why she doesn't have a name, because it's easy to remember that she was a woman.
Yeah.
But remembering details is not so easy. You saw...
Do I keep general details, like she was dressed in
You can't remember colors that she was wearing. You can't remember facial
colors, no
features.
lines, no nothing?
Nothing.
Okay.
For Kakita, though, you saw that his outfit was more akin to that of someone preparing for a funeral than it was for someone leading a town. I think that's probably the best way to put that. It was more, not like they don't do like sacrifices in Rokugan, but like ceremonial. But he's not a Shugenja, so that seems kind of weird. And Hida, I think the thing you notice about him was once again his retainers are nowhere to be found. But also you noticed that he had just a small sliver of blood kind of on the back corner of his left shoulder. And you just barely noticed it because of the white of his Emerald Magistrate's kimono. And so you kind of like barely saw the stain above his shoulder.
Okay.
So I think you guys leave, and it takes a while for you to get to a space where you are able to kind of speak freely and to think freely. But once you're there, let's kind of role play your conversation and your direction from here forward to see kind of what you guys are thinking, what you might be planning or plotting, because I don't think any of you is satisfied with just being here
No.
and remaining regular Yoriki for this
That was odd.
Emerald Magistrate who is clearly not in his right mind.
Well, for one, we don't work for him.
Well, you do.
technically.
You accepted the job. You
Right.
accepted being his Yoriki and giving up the Ruby Champion station
Ah,
until she kind of came a knocking again.
okay. So we actually technically have to abide by his wishes.
Technically, you transferred lords at that moment, yes.
I see.
The oddity to me was becoming a Ronin to have the woman help out the woman to help us talk to the Hida, but I
Yeah, that
really
was-
pled
that's a
guilty
odd
to
stretch there.
the
That's-
Emerald Magistrate. I said I would help.
Yeah, but he's not bound like we are.
So I'm assuming you guys are like in a room at the inn by yourselves.
They showed you screen up so nobody can
Yeah,
can listen
trying
to
to
us.
trying to keep watch in
Right.
some way.
Actually, we're still in the room with the three of them. We just put a screen up so that they can't hear.
Yeah, you
us.
put
we
fans
need to
in your
talk. We need to talk. Hold on.
Yes.
Yes,
Bring forth the cone of
I
silence.
was told this fan keeps people from noticing.
that's right.
We're using pantomime, but we're using ancient Sumerian.
I mean, I translate that.
All right, so,
So we go
let's
back to
kind
the
of go
end, basically.
Okay.
sort of around the room, so it's not just like constant overspeak for the podcast sake. Kakita, let's start with you. What do you think the next move should be? What should we prepare for the next episode?
I'd like to just
Kakita,
talk
let
like we're
Kakita.
talking.
Yeah.
Okay.
But nobody can hear anything because
Well, if
everybody's
we're
talking at
If
the
we're
same
respectful
time.
and we don't do that,
Yeah, but that doesn't happen.
we can. Okay, go ahead.
I think Miyamoto-san and I should have a discussion about swords.
Okay, great. We're gonna talk about
Yeah, 'cause
swords.
this is
That's
a good role playing opportunity.
That's true. Yeah. So y'all go for it.
Okay.
Just be careful.
Miyamoto-san,
Yes.
your family has a tradition of sword making smithery. Is that something that you personally
Oh yes,
entertain with?
I'm fascinated by swords. I have studied swords and katanas and my whole life.
Excellent. My family has a strong tradition of that too. One of my ancestors crafted a katana that hangs in the Kakita Champion's Palace there.
Oh, that's a wonderful honor.
We found this particular sword amongst these so-called crane out there, and I pull out that sort of tainted wakizashi.
Yeah.
Show you the blade. What is your impression of this?
Oh, my impression is studying. I removed 3 strife. Okay, that's good.
What an ability.
You're welcome.
And I will study it and see if I recall anything.
Yeah, you can
About
roll a smithing check
Oh, great. Using earth, I'm sure.
if you would like to.
Yeah, because I'm trying to recall information. And, well, they're going to strife come right back. 2 success.
2 success. This blade is made, you can tell, with kind of like, it's an infused version of obsidian, but it's almost like it's been purified in some way. Like through the working of the steel and the stone together, in some manner, this thing has quality that actually intentionally removes Shadowland's authority. Not to the quality that Jade does. It's a different thing entirely. But I think you got 2 successes, no opportunity.
No opportunity.
Okay, so then yeah, that's what you're able to ascertain from it
So it would work against the shadow
in some way.
in some
You don't
way.
really know how,
Right, understood.
but I think you get that. I think what Isawa is able to understand metagame wise from this is like that's why it interacted with his lungs. Kind of thing is when he touched it, but he didn't like unless you're telling him.
Well, we're discussing.
he is at the
this.
table with
We're
us.
all
If you're
yeah,
saying that out
here.
loud,
Yes.
I'm not trying to overspeak.
yeah, sure,
Yeah,
that's good.
fair enough.
Yeah, so you kind of say that out loud, and that's kind of the information floating right now.
Miyamoto-san,
Yes.
when I examined this weapon earlier from Kakita-san, this had a very strange effect on me that I have not felt. Without any understanding, it made me feel stronger.
Stronger. In what way?
The best way to describe this is I have not felt this good in years.
How come everything that's dark that taints your characters ends up making you stronger?
I didn't say it was a good strong, but no.
This affects the Shadowlands. This is Shadowland work, but
May I hold the blade and communicate with the kami on this
by all means.
to see what spirits are at play?
Okay.
You okay? Yep.
Go for it.
Also, as y'all are doing this, I'm like, y'all know we have more important things to talk about than this sword.
We will get to those.
This may be an important part. We found this on one of the Ronin out there. If this has Shadowlands links, this may be
Go
the
for
key
it.
that gets us to
Void.
Kina Hewett.
The fact that Lord Hida's being controlled,
I noticed that
he's
too.
not under his own actions.
He is definitely acting odd.
My impression was that the woman, as she likes to be called, is in charge here.
She seemed to wield a lot of authority for someone who has no discernible anything.
No. And she should not. She is dragon. She should not be interfering like this.
Not only that,
She was dragon?
She's a dragon clan.
Oh.
You do not.
I don't remember anything about her other than she was there.
I do not either. That is strange, is it
I
not?
also don't know if y'all noticed on Lord Kikita and Lord Hida, the sashes that they wore with a different mon than their clan.
I did not notice the
No.
sash.
It was
What
in
kind
the
of
it was
mon?
in the shape of an eye.
I've seen this
does that
eye.
I mean anything to anybody?
The void eye?
You just saw like the
I ju-
corner of an eye.
I
You
just
didn't
saw
see
the
detail.
I just saw the corner of an eye. All I know is that is not one. They would Lord Hida was not wearing that when he first came into town. Also, for the second straight time meeting him, he has not had his retainers.
Yes, where did they go?
I am quite worried about
We should find them.
Utaku-san, and I'm sorry because it's been like 2 months since they've been mentioned. What was the other one?
I don't remember either.
Yeah, I know.
It was
I have it written down somewhere. We'll go on, but there's retainers.
And
for
it was
now.
it was a unicorn and a dragon.
Bob and Doug.
And
Bill and Ted.
a member of your own clan. We have not seen them for
Days.
days.
We should.
I'm
Perhaps
quite
if
worried,
we talk
especially
to the
if,
stable master. He seems to know.
especially Lord Hida not being himself.
All right.
I s-
Isawa, how'd you do?
I have 3 successes and an opportunity.
A plume of smoke raises from the wakizashi. It doesn't really take a particular shape, but you get the sense that this is the kami, this is the spirit, the ancestor, or whatever that you're going to be speaking to, and everyone can see this.
Oh boy.
That's
What
new.
have you done, Isawa?
Oh, I'm in a trance at this point.
Yeah. As you kind of stare at this plume of smoke, you do see kind of a green static electricity kind of raising through it, almost like a storm cloud full of jade.
All coming from the Wakizashi.
Mm-hmm.
I have not seen this before.
What do you ask it?
Oh, this is new.
So I recognize this as an ancestor, just of some sort, right?
You recognize, I mean, what you see is a plume of, like a cloud with green lightning.
Okay.
You would assume, like, you're using the void, so this is in some way.
An ancestor of some sort.
It's not a normal kami.
Right. So that's where I would begin is I would address it as an ancestor. And just, great ancestor, what nature is this weapon? What power does it bring?
And you don't hear it, but you sense the kind of question of power. What do you
It's-
mean?
It's of the shadow, but yet it feels like it defies the shadow.
Perhaps the shadow needs light to be seen correctly.
Light removes shadow.
Well, you can't hear this. It's talking in his mind.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, fair enough. But
I
I
can
hear what
see
he
it.
You
says.
see
We might
it.
hear Asawa. We
Do
don't
I hear
that.
what he's saying?
Yeah, I don't know. Are
Okay.
you like saying
I-
its responses
It would
out
be.
loud?
I would be. These responses would probably be out loud.
Okay, you're
Can
like
he
saying
hear
your
us?
questions and you're saying the responses.
Yes.
Cool. So yeah, so you can ask that then. So go ahead.
Okay. But light removes shadow.
I'll go ahead and repeat it. I mean,
Yeah, sure.
for narrative's sake, let's
yeah.
not bog down in the mechanic here.
Well, light also creates shadow. There can be no shadow without light shining.
But
Ask,
it displaces shadow.
It does both.
ask it who it serves.
Serve. I am a weapon. I am created to destroy,
Destroy
not
what?
to serve.
Why did I feel stronger when I held you? Or when I hold you?
It was not strength, but understanding. You have been tainted. My goal is to eradicate that. If you would kindly press me toward it.
To eradicate the taint?
Yes.
So you need to become a sword swallower.
I'll hold the. I'll bring it in almost like I'm hugging the weapon against my body.
You're a smart priest. You know that's not what I mean.
But if I use you, then I will end our conversation.
As I said, I'm not here to serve, but to destroy.
Specifically destroy just taint? Or everything?
I'm just a sword. I can only destroy that which is flesh.
And on that, I'll run my finger down the blade
Okay, like to cut it?
to cut it.
Okay.
Not like to cut it off or anything.
Yeah. No,
Just
I know.
sorta
Like
like
to prick
just
your
a double.
finger. Like
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
what you mean.
Puzzling at Isawa.
I don't think that was helpful to either of us. But I appreciate the effort. Perhaps one day we can find my maker and he can build things instead of destroying them.
How have you become awakened?
You awakened me.
Who is his maker?
Who is your maker?
Utasa. Gotta find another pencil, write down another gosh dang name.
You did this. That was not helpful for either of you.
Spelled Utasau.
A made-up name. I have to write it just like that.
Yes. Because I made it up.
All right. My notes are starting to look like Call of Cthulhu notes.
Oh, I should start writing my game notes like that for Call of Cthulhu.
And where is your maker?
In the land of shadow.
That
Why
doesn't
would-
bode well.
Why would someone in the land of shadow make something that destroys shadow?
There's lots of things in the land of shadow that destroy shadow.
How do you think that they survive in the land of shadow?
Yeah. We survived there. We survived there for I want to get the right. I believe it was 300 years. Someone's going to correct me when I'm wrong.
That's okay.
At least 300 years. Out in the
299, but who's counting?
out in the Shadowlands before we came back to Rokugan.
I thought you traveled the world.
We did. Through the Shadowlands. We brought the moto from the Shadowlands.
Well, not all of them.
Oh, no, you're right.
I have slain a
apologize.
few myself.
Oh, so he can hear me, but he can't talk to
I'm
me,
translating.
Yeah,
correct?
he's translating. He's saying
Ah.
everything that's being
That's-
said, and it's that's
Right.
I mean, all weapons kill, so that doesn't surprise me.
I've also let each one of you know at this point that I'm tainted.
you have.
That's a pretty heinous cough.
What?
The dragon priestess could probably heal you.
You trust the dragon priestess?
No.
What happened to my lord?
He was destroyed.
Who is your lord?
I think his name is not important now if he was destroyed.
Well, you don't
Maybe
want to
he
make
was
up
not
another
destroyed.
name?
Hmm?
You don't want to make up another name?
I don't want to try to remember anymore.
Maybe he was not destroyed. How do we
Now
know?
we're
Don't know who
definitely
he
at
is.
Call of Cthulhu.
I don't know if these questions are helping us anymore.
We don't know until, like, we have a...
We shall communicate again at a later time.
We will see.
Do you know where
Also,
we
you
can find
talked-
your master in the
did you-
Shadowlands? Oh,
Mike,
sorry.
did you converse about like needing to basically needing to stab the dagger into you?
No.
Okay, I wanna.
He said he destroys flesh.
All right. Do you come out of the trance at this
I
point?
at that point I will go ahead and come out of the trance.
Okay. Slowly, very slowly, the smoke seeps back into the Wakizashi.
Look around the partition to make sure nobody's
My eyes
coming
roll
this
from
way.
the back of my head forward again.
Yeah, no, nobody saw that. It's fine.
So, Griot was there. And so, I guess... rather
Is
than-
Icoma with you guys? Like, how is this?
I
How much is he?
I was
included?
kind of.
He's not included.
yet.
Okay.
Oh,
He's
we
still
didn't
drinking.
grab. We didn't grab him when we
No.
came back.
No,
Apparently not.
I wouldn't want to talk to him because I don't know him well enough. We got to figure out what we're doing, and then we can bring him in.
Sure.
It wouldn't be wise to bring someone in, especially knowing a little bit about him. Yeah, we'll bring him in, but we'll figure that out. So rather than rehashing everything, I'm going to assume that they share everything that they saw at the battle, and the crane and all of that.
He just wanted to roleplay the sword. I see
Kakita
how
said
it
it.
is.
No,
Yeah, that was it.
No.
Yeah. that was my call to relay that out. Yeah.
Kakita-san, may I hold on to this for a while?
Are you sure that's wise? It affects you.
As long as I am traveling with company, I believe so. For I'm the only one that communicates with it.
Is that wise?
It's yet to be seen.
My only question is,
Maybe I should hold on to it temporarily for a little while longer until we know more about it, just in case.
but if we are facing shadow, shouldn't someone who can wield it to fight the shadow carry it? Because I've seen what you wield, and I've seen what he wields, and it seems like it would be best in his hands for fighting shadow.
A katana, whether flaming or not, or a wakizashi, whether flaming or not, is yet just a sword. But here you go, and I'll hand it back over.
Thank you, Asawa.
And this is strictly in terms of if we face another one of these things that you speak of, or anything similar, we need to be able to fight it. And you have spiritual weapons. I have spiritual weapons. I don't know if he does, and I don't know if she does.
Question is, Kakita-san, will you wield it? Knowing what it is.
If necessary.
It is something that fights shadow.
So it says. There's only one way to find out for sure.
Well, Isawa seems to vouch for that aspect of its nature.
Indeed.
And what I have seen also tells me that that is its nature.
Agreed.
So,
But looks can be deceiving and beings can lie. We don't know that it's telling the truth. Either
Just-
its impression or what it says.
that is true, just as a crane is not really a crane.
I did not speak with the kami, I spoke with the spirit of the weapon.
Which, as you
Yes.
say, was not a common.
That is correct.
So, moving on to other matters, what do we do about this Griot? And you seem to believe that he's in league with the crane, Lord Akita?
So,
That is the impression he wants to give. Whether he's in league with just the magistrate here, or he's making the entire thing up, I don't know. Or he's in league with the crane.
If that's the
in general.
case,
We don't know.
and Lord Kikita here is following the orders of the woman.
The woman.
I
Would it
believe there's
not-
some other information that we must discuss before discussing the woman. There were crane gold. The
Well, there was
wolf.
a bag with the crane mon on it.
The wolf would appear to have been paid to come in acting as crane.
I-
This was not communicated to our magistrates.
No.
We did not have time to talk with everyone here.
Well,
Probably wise not to discuss that in front of the woman and Lord Hita and Lord Akita.
And Lord Hita was writing on a scroll as we walked in and quickly covered it up.
Was it Heater or was it Kakita that was writing?
It was Kikita.
Kakita.
That's what I thought.
Too many
They
names.
and they all sound relatively close to the same.
They kind of do, yeah.
Only with a I mean,
Also, it's all last names, so we call them all the same thing.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Okay. And you do not know this, but Akoma and myself were attacked by 3 peasants.
Who's
Mhm.
a coma?
Akoma is a Lion Clan bard that I took out of prison.
Oh.
He had a Tessin that was in the possession of Lord.
just like
Alright, just yeah, okay.
Roll
Huh?
with it now. All right.
The woman tried to stop me from freeing him.
Really?
Yes. But she tried to influence me, but
oh,
I
that must
had,
have been after we parted ways.
yes, it was. When I remember the Tessin that I found in the magistrate's office?
Yeah.
Well, it belonged to this gentleman, and Lord Tagashi inspired me to go converse with him and led me to believe that he has an important part to play. So I went and I talked to him, and I took him out of prison. He's actually down at the tavern drinking sake. It should be pretty lit. He's a very interesting fellow. I think y'all will enjoy him. He has a rather scathing wit, so I
I didn't,
urge you
didn't get
to
to converse with him that much.
meet to be aware of this. But the Tessin, anyway, we were attacked by 3 peasants. I was shot at. Akoma, I learned, was a very avid, respectable fighter in his own right. Though these were peasants, and they were attacking us with basically just kitchen knives and bows and arrows. But one thing that was very curious about this was after we vanquished them, they didn't remember why they were doing it or for what reason. And I saw on one of them a void eye, almost like a tattoo, that disappeared as I watched it. And as it disappeared, they seemed to come out of this state that they were in.
I'd
of
like to make a
control.
theology check on that.
Okay.
I'd also,
Target number 3.
Okay.
Could you describe that eye?
Yeah, it looked like the little void. Is that a void eye right there?
Yeah.
It
It,
looks
it
I was
looks
saying
like
is- I
that.
was thinking
With,
if the character could describe it well enough that maybe I can recall if it.
you would be familiar with the rings,
Okay.
so you would be familiar with that symbology. Like these symbols are normal in.
I still didn't see enough of the eye to be
Yeah.
able to.
But
okay.
what he's able to tell you is that it's the void symbol with the corners of an eyeball.
That's made me a little bit more worried.
Probably for good reasons.
Yes, and I also noticed that when we were talking to Lord Akita and Lord Hito and the woman, that Lord Akita seemed to have something wrong with one of his eyes. Did you notice that? He was blinking it rapidly.
I did not.
all the time, and it was not normal.
I don't know much of the techniques to be able to control one's actions or one's will. But if Lord Hida is not acting within his normal realm of actions, then maybe Lord Hida is not also. And maybe he's trying to break free. I know
notice a
there's
little bit of
several
blood on
different...
Kita's collar there too, on her shoulder.
So
Okay, that's actually going to make me stand up and leave to look for Lady Utaku.
all right, so
I need to find Utaku-san now.
Isawa, you rolled 3 successes, yeah,
It's
And
that
2
bad.
We
opportunities.
go way back, and
you
now
were trying
that
to
has me worried.
and you were trying to figure out
4.
what about the
We have not
the
seen
symbol.
that.
Okay, hang on. We can't have two
Sorry.
conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were trying to figure what about the symbol?
I was trying to recall anything about that symbol, about the fact that he described that he saw it and then it disappeared, and then they can't remember anything.
It lines up with the idea of the void. That there kind of is, it's all centered and yet all nothing. It's peaceful yet unnerving at the same time. You kind of get the sense that like the symbolism of an eye, the eyes are the windows to the mind and to the soul, and with void being kind of intermixed into that symbolism, you get a sense of this is a manner of which at least to tell that there's some sort of control being placed on them, and it's not, I mean, it's abnormal control, it's supernatural control, but it's not necessarily directly evil control.
Okay.
Good and evil are almost, many believe, concepts. That they're just as a balance.
She is Dragon Clan.
She is.
Well, was.
At least she was, and that,
She appears that way.
and that is as much as I can remember. And she told me, or did she? Oh no, you told me she was a dragon priestess.
No,
And she
I
has
told
the
you.
tattoos
I told you she is wearing the robes of a dragon
of a
priestess.
dragon priestess, and she has tattoos. Those I remember. But a lot of other stuff about her is very fuzzy.
I too have troubles recalling this woman. I think if we stay, we should find out more about who and what she is. There's more to her than what we know.
Are we compelled to stay? Lord Otaku, I do not, or Otaku, you are not compelled to stay. Perhaps.
Well,
Well,
he is.
I am compelled to stay
The
now.
4 of you all agreed to be Eureki.
I
you did
agreed
too?
I agreed to help for the at least for the situation.
Right,
to
but he
sign
never
on,
agreed to
but-
be a Eureki, I don't think.
Yeah.
Oh, did he?
He just wasn't one of the Emerald Magistrates in training.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You didn't commit to the Ruby Champion, but you did commit to the
Okay,
Emerald
you're right.
Magistrate.
You're
now,
right.
We need to get in contact with the
But
Ruby
I have another compelling reason. But
of
yeah.
our allies here, who do we have
Well,
outside of ourselves?
I believe Akoma would be an ally. And he could go freely, and perhaps he could... What was your impression of this Lord Akoto?
He seemed an honorable man. Very much a lion from head to toe.
Well, then I would trust your judgment, because you have every reason to distrust him at the moment, that perhaps we need to get word to him and ask him to try to get word to the Ruby Champion.
Do you trust that our message would be received,
If
or
we,
or intercepted?
if we send Akoma,
Well, there may be one more we can trust.
and that would be
Utaku-san.
It's
if you
Itaku
find her,
Yunju.
Yeah, Utaku Yunju.
if you can find her.
Correct.
So I think that the course of action next is to get Yunju and Ikoma on board.
Yes.
Yes. And I'll also so it's interesting you were attacked. While you were attacked, you know I was following Lord Hida.
Yes, I believe that's what you said you were going to
He was
do.
traveling to all the Fortune's temples and praying there. But it was odd. And I followed, and when I would when I would turn around to leave, I would notice a black robed figure who would disappear the moment that I left.
And
But,
make a meditation check.
But I don't know much about. I don't know as much
You mean
about.
like Lord Togashi's insight or just meditation?
If you would like this to be Togashi's insight,
I actually want to use that on the woman.
I don't think that it's as
I think he's telling you
pointed
don't.
as that. Like Lord Togashi's insight gives you a direction on where you might possibly go.
Okay.
I don't know that it gives you, like, you can do a meditation roll around the idea of the woman to see what you can surmise about her, but I don't know that I would necessarily, because like the next step isn't to kill the woman,
Right.
Like I would give you kind of an idea of a step you could take right now.
So you're suggesting I use it?
So I'm saying if you want to use it before the session is over because it's 10:30 p.m.
Got you. No, I
You should
intend to
use
use
it
it
now.
Okay. I wish to. Okay. I wish to find out. I would like to know. I guess probably about Hida's companions. How to find them.
Do you want to find them, or do you want to? What sparked this check? I can't even remember what's
The black
happening.
robed figure.
The black
Black
robed
robed
figures.
figures. Yeah. So I think you can make I think if you want to do that, make your Togashi's insight separately. But this
Okay.
is specifically like he talked about these black robed figures, and that sparks this check for you.
And
And
that
I'm
is-
gonna do a recall meditation.
And that'll be my character getting up. I believe we need to find the retainers quickly. They may be in more trouble than we know.
This is
How
true.
many successes do I need?
You need 2.
Three successes, an opportunity, and 2 strife.
Okay. The idea you get from these black figures, they are in some way related to the taint that's been kind of seemingly spreading where you guys have been traveling to. You've noticed in most places that you've been to, there's something wonky about the kami in general. And because of the way that Lady Utaku has described Lord Hida praying at each of these spaces, the time he spends there is less of a prayer of like to the fortune itself, and is more a prayer of like, you don't know exactly what he says, but what he's doing in those moments is welcoming whatever these black figures are into Toshirambo. The whole reason that he's doing these prayers is because he is, at this point in the town, the highest in the celestial food chain. And so he's able to open the gates, as it were, to other sinister things, whereas prayers that had been said over this area before by Shugenja had kept them out. I'm assuming you relay this information.
I do.
And then do you want to do the Togashi's insight roll?
Yes.
Let's go for it.
And while he's doing that, I suggest to everyone, perhaps a messenger can be sent to my family. I think we need a little more wisdom and guidance in this. And we would not be exceeding our mandate
Only get 2 dice, right?
to request
that's true.
additional Shugenja to help cleanse and clarify, or cleanse the land.
That's true. You'd already suggested contacting your family for cleansing the land.
So even if intercepted, this would not be out of the expected normal.
Indeed.
But now I don't get bonuses for extra successes, right?
I don't think so.
So in that case, I'm just gonna.
Togashi's insight.
Yeah, it just takes 2. It's a target number 2.
And you got that, I'm assuming?
Yeah, I got a lot more than that.
Okay, cool. You...
Oh, I ignore strife, don't I? With the void.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so yeah, so I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 success.
So, Lord Tagashi's insight, and you're trying to find the retainers.
Yep. And if you want to think about that and start out the next session with it, that's fine too.
No, I think... Do you guys have any drinks in the room? Does anybody like drinking tea or anything?
I would imagine the first
Not in
thing
this
that-
room, in the game.
I would imagine the first thing that he would have done when we sat to talk
Some
was
calming tea.
while we're talking, he'd probably be making tea.
So you kind of look down into your cup, and in the dregs you see 2 koi, like the shapes of 2 koi. One is in half, and the other is whole.
Do they have colors?
No, I mean it's in like your tea leaves kind of thing.
Okay, but there's still colors could be,
Yeah,
because I'm thinking that one of them is, that maybe that would tell me perhaps which one is still alive.
yeah. I think okay, I'll give that to you. The whole one is purple.
Is purple. Okay.
The halved one is green.
I have a feeling that Utaka-san is still alive, but my dragonkin is no more. I have had a vision from Lord Tagashi.
All the more reason I need to hurry.
And I think
And I'm
you're
thinking we need to look for in an area where there's some water, and there is a river running through here.
there is a river. There's also a
A
pond.
a koi pond.
Yes,
Perhaps we should look at the koi pond.
and I think we'll screen wipe, kind of like bass drummy, like boom, like montage it. So you guys leaving the room, you rushing over, and you finding the dragon literally in half from some large wound, like some large weapon has slashed them in two, and Yunju is unconscious, bleeding, and nearly dead herself, face down in the pond.
Medicine.
Yeah, well, I think the point of the like montage is like you're able
Yeah.
to drag her out and
That's a good.
bring her to the room to resuscitate her, and we'll go ahead end the session there. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next time for more Warrior's Path, and until then, keep on adventuring.
Good night.
Good night.